Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here. Today I'm going to show you guys how to get Shadowmourne, the legendary two-handed axe from Icecrown Citadel. Please keep in mind that this questline is only available for Paladins, Warriors, and Death Knights, and any future class that can wield a two-handed axe. Also, these quests are only completable in 25-man difficulty, normal or heroic. Just so you know, you are able to still do this at level 120 in Battle for Azeroth with minimal questing gear. The hardest part of this quest is actually Unholy Infusion for Professor Putricide because there's a bit of a reset bug, but I've done it at 120, it still works. So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing you have to do for this is become friendly with the Ashen Verdict, which is the raid reputation for Icecrown Citadel. The easiest way to do this is to just clear the trash before Lord Marrowgar and just leave the instance and reset. Do that 5 or 6 times and you hit friendly. The other thing you need to do is get 25 Primordial Serenite, and the easiest way to do this is either buy it off the auction house for like 15 to 20 gold a pop, or just kill the boss as an ICC to get it. So the first quest you're going to get is the Sacred and the Corrupt, and this is a multi-part quest, but it's actually pretty easy. You need 25 Primordial Serenite, and then you need to go get Arthas's Hammer. And that is actually going to be changed into Shadow's Edge, which is the epic weapon that you will use throughout this questline. So in order to get Light's Vengeance, which is Arthas's Hammer, you need to go to Dragonblight, and more specifically Scarlet Point, and then into Frostmourne Cavern. It's pretty easy to get to. It's pretty obvious. It's just a cavern in a mountain surrounded by the Scarlet Crusade, so not too hard. Once you're in here, all of the existing mobs will just disappear. They'll phase out because you're on this quest, and you will see Arthas's Hammer in a shining cone of light. So all you have to do is walk up to it, and then the Lich King will come out, CC you, he will taunt you. You get some pretty cool RP, which I will let play out.
So predictable. Did you truly expect to fulfill Mograine's task unopposed? You both shall suffer as his father does. In eternal unrest. Die well, fool.
And then once the RP is done, just walk over, right-click the hammer. It will start killing all of the zombies in here, all these mobs. It'll just one-shot them, and then once they all are dead, the movement slowing debuff that you have will be removed. And all you gotta do is kill the main mob in here, and you will be able to get Light's Vengeance. The next thing you need to do is kill Festergut and Rotface in ICC. And something that I want to stress to you, do not kill any trash on the way to either of these bosses. Try to avoid all of it, and you're going to find out why in the next part of the quest, because you need to basically kill all the trash leading up to these guys to get, I think it's like 50 souls or something like that. So leave all the trash, and then kill these 2 bosses, and you'll be able to loot both of their acidic bloods and complete the first part of this quest chain.
So, it has begun. Behold! The binding of sacred and corrupt. The forging of Shadow's Edge. A weapon of untold potential. Bend it to your will, and you shall wield unspeakable power! Fail, and your soul shall forever be its slave. us there's no peace, no rest.
The next part of this quest chain is called a Feast of Souls, and it's pretty easy. All you have to do is kill trash in Icecrown Citadel and infuse Shadow's Edge with 50 souls. You do need to have Shadow's Edge equipped for basically all of the rest of the infusions as well as this part of the quest, so keep that in mind. Don't go killing trash with your new weapons, nothing. It has to be Shadow's Edge. Also, something that I did notice is you can't kill these enemies with spells and gain quest credit. You have to do some sort of attack that actually uses your weapon. So be very careful if you're a Death Knight. Don't cast any regular spells. If you're a Paladin, don't use Judgment to kill. You could use Crusader Strike. I don't know if Wake of Ashes counts, but just make sure that it's a weapon-related ability and you will get quest credit. So once you have Shadow's Edge infused with 50 souls, you'll get the next part of the quest, Unholy Infusion. This part of the quest is quite difficult in Battle for Azeroth. It was kind of annoying in Legion as well, and the reason for that is because Professor Putricide has a weird reset bug where once you jump into the abomination, it just bugs out and he resets. The footage I'm showing here is recorded in Battle for Azeroth patch 8.0. And I did this deliberately to make sure it still worked, and it does. However, you have to do it in a really specific order. First off, make sure you have Shadow's Edge equipped. This will not work, and you will not get the ability you need when you're the Abomination if you do not have it equipped. However, just to show you, how this works in BFA, unfortunately I wasn't on the quest line, so I couldn't really show it, but the main thing that I'm trying to demonstrate here is that you can do this successfully without having the boss reset on you the minute you transform. I tried this for about an hour and a half before I can get it to work, so it is possible. It could just be extremely buggy and it may take you a while. But if you do this in this explicit order, it should work. Having Shadow's Edge equipped, bring Professor Putricide down near 80%. Do not drop him below 80% or else he will transition. Stand near the table and wait for him to throw a vial of ooze on the ground and a green puddle will form. Then move about halfway to the middle of the room and wait for him to throw another vial. Then move to the middle and wait for him to throw the third vial. During this waiting period, he will cast Volatile Experiment twice. The first time he casts it, a volatile ooze will spawn. The second time, a gas cloud will spawn. Cast any spell on both of these enemies just to get them to aggro to you. Once Putricide throws the third and final vial of goo on the ground, move back to the table. This is where it gets tricky. What I had to do was click the table and then right before I transformed, transition him down below 80%. If you do this successfully, the fight will not reset when you transform into the Abomination. If you're successful and you spawn as the Abomination, just keep mashing the first ability while standing over the vile oozes. If you're successful and you're inside the Abomination, keep mashing the first ability to suck up the ooze on the ground. Once you reach 100 energy, you'll gain access to an extra ability. Cast this ability, it's about a 4 or 5 second cast time, and that's it. Once it's successful, you can allow Putricide to kill the Abomination, and then you can kill the boss. If you're able to successfully complete this fight and gain the Unholy Infusion, head back to Darien Mograine for the next step.
Everyone mortal, these souls will again to make soon enough.
The next part of this quest chain is Blood Infusion, and this is the only part of the quest chain that you need at least 2 extra people for. The rest of this thing is soloable. This is the only part you need a party for. And don't believe anyone who tells you it's soloable, it's not. The mechanics of this fight will not allow for it. Just like Professor Putricide, this has to be done in a really specific order in order for you to be successful. One of the members of your 3-person party, so you and 2 others, needs a combat res. If you're a Death Knight, you have the luxury of bringing any other class to this fight. If you're a paladin or a warrior, you need to bring either a Death Knight, a Resto Shaman, or a Warlock or a Druid in order to gain access to a combat res. Once the fight begins, have both of your additional party members blow all of their major cooldowns. The reason for this is because they are going to be mind controlled deliberately at some point in the fight and you don't want them killing you. Bring the Blood Queen down to about 55% health. She'll eventually give you a vampire debuff, and about 30 seconds or a minute later, you'll gain an ability to bite another party member. Bite the party member who does not have the combat res. So if you brought a warlock and a warrior, bite the warrior. You need to combat res this party member once you kill them. So let the fight continue, and then when you get the vampire debuff again, you should bite the other party member. That first party member who was bitten will get mind controlled. Once they are mind controlled, kill them. Once they are dead, cast the combat res on them and have them come back to life. Still, at this point, you should not be killing the boss. She should still be somewhere around 55% health. Because you used a combat res on that first party member, they will no longer have the vampire debuff. This allows you to bite your third party member by biting them an additional time. So again, once you gain access to the vampire ability, bite them and then nuke the boss. You should be able to kill her just before she mind controls the other party member, or just as she's doing it. If she does successfully mind control that other party member, try to CC them. I wouldn't waste time trying to kill them unless they're a threat, but you should just be able to zerg the boss down. If you have successfully bitten 3 times, you will get the blood infusion, and this part of the quest is over. You can solo the rest of this. Once you have the blood infusion and you've successfully completed this quest, head back down to Darien Mograine for the final infusion quest.
These souls will again be mine soon enough.
This last infusion is Frost Infusion, and it is the easiest of the bunch. The way you do this is by literally doing nothing. Just aggro Sindragosa and stand there. If you're doing this in one day, or one shot rather, and you had invited your party members to help you with Blood Queen and the Blood Infusion, tell them to leave and get them out of your party. Do the rest of this solo. The reason you want to do this solo is because if you have people with you in the fight, you will get locked in a tomb of ice and you won't be able to break out unless you have enough people. So it's just much easier to solo this. In order to get the Frost Infusion, Sindragosa needs to breathe on you 4 times. So like I said, all you do is nothing. Just stand there and let her breathe on you. After the 4th time, you will successfully get the Frost Infusion and you can kill her. That's it. Once Sindragosa is dead and you've completed the Frost Infusion quest, head back down to Darien Mograine for the final part of this quest. The last major part of this quest chain is called the Splintered Throne, and it is the longest quest in this chain. In order to complete this quest, you need to collect 50 Shadowfrost shards. The only way to gain a Shadowfrost shard is to kill a boss in Icecrown Citadel. Every single boss, including the Lich King, can drop 1. Some of them have a high drop rate, some of them have a low drop rate. It is not guaranteed from any boss. So knowing that, it will probably take you, at a minimum, 5 clears of this dungeon. It's probably somewhere closer to 8 to 10 clears, so it will likely take you about 3 months to complete this quest chain. The good news is that you do not need Shadow's Edge to be equipped for any other part of this quest. You can clear this with any weapon you want. Keep in mind that running this dungeon on Heroic is supposed to increase the drop rate. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but I have seen that in a lot of comments. But there's really no reason to not have been running this on Heroic the entire time. This is also a good excuse to run ICC 10 more times for a chance at Invincible's reigns. Maybe you'll be luckier than I was when I did this with 2 separate characters and never got it. Once you loot your 50th and final Shadowfrost shard, head back down to Darien Mograine and get yourself Shadowmourne.
A shadow of hope remains. It is complete. Where most would falter, you have overcome. You have withstood the torment of the Lich King himself. And now Shadowmourne is yours. now. Wield this mighty weapon, and direct the countless living souls that empower it. Go now, and defeat the Prince of Darkness. For us, there is no peace, no rest.
Once you receive Shadowmourne from Darian Mograine, you'll be able to embark on the final part of this quest, which is really easy. All you have to do is go kill the Lich King. Once you kill the Lich King while on this final quest, you'll be able to loot a sealed chest. This item starts another quest, but it's easy. Just head back to Darian Mograine and he will unseal it for you. Once unsealed, open it up and you will receive 5 quest items. All 5 of these quest items can be handed in right inside of Light's Hammer to all the major NPCs here. You hand in Alexandros' Soul Shard to Darian Mograine, and you will receive Reigns of the Crimson Death Charger.
We are eternal. We are unyielding. Father.
Daria, my son. At last, I am able to lay my eyes upon you again.
Father, I feared for your sanity.
The Lich King tormented me without end, Daria. Endlessly, he sought to break my will, to force me to serve him, to bind me to his blade. Finally, when events demanded his full attention, he left me. The one memory I clung to, Darian, the one thought that kept me from giving in, it was your sacrifice, my son, that again saved me from eternal peril.
Father, for you, I would give my life 1,000 times.
Hand in Jaina's Locket to Jaina Proudmoore, and you will receive Jaina's Locket again.
What's this? He kept it. Oh. I knew! I sensed a part of him still alive, trapped, struggling. Oh, Arthas. Perhaps he might someday remember what he once was. By the light, may he at last find rest, free from the icy grip of that terrible blade.
Hand in Badge of the Silver Hand to Uther the Lightbringer, and you will receive Tabard of the Lightbringer.
Arthas. Alas, hero of Azeroth, you give me a greater gift than you know. Long have I struggled to forgive the prince for his terrible transgressions. My soul has been racked with unbearable anxiety, dark thoughts, distancing me from the light. I recall clearly the gleam of pride in his eye as he stood before me, eager to defeat the enemies of the light. Eager to defend his people, no matter the cost. It is this memory of Arthas that I choose to keep in my heart. I shall always be in your debt, friend. Thank you.
Hand in the Blood of Sylvanas to Sylvanas Windrunner, and you will receive Sylvanas' music box.
So, it is done. I had not dared to trust my senses. Too many times has the Lich King made me to be a fool. Finally, He has been made to pay for the atrocities he imposed upon my people. May Azeroth never fail to remember the horrible price we paid for our weakness, for our pride. But what now, hero? What of those freed from his grasp, but still shackled to their mortal coils? Leave me. I have much to ponder.
And finally, hand in Arthas's training sword to get Muradin's favor.
Oh, lad. How I miss those endless days in Lordaeron. Sharpening your skill with this dull blade. Forging you into a weapon meant to withstand the demands of a great destiny. You sure put them skills to use, didn't you, lad? If only I'd been able to stop you that day, how different things might have been. If only I'd have never discovered that accursed blade. Farewell, Arthas, my brother.
2 of these items sell for a good deal. Personally, I have successfully sold Reigns of the Crimson Death Charger for almost 400,000 gold. I think I sold it for 380. Unfortunately, this is a really common item that gets duped by hackers, so if you notice that the value of this item is nowhere near at least 300k on your server, do not sell it. Just sit on it and wait until the value goes back up. The other item that sells for a lot of money is Tabard of the Lightbringer. I have seen this go for upwards of 100,000 to sometimes 150,000 gold on my server. I play on Sargeras on the Alliance. So if it's not somewhere near 100k, again, just sit on it. The other 3 items, Sylvanas' Music Box, Jaina's Locket, and Muradin's Favor, don't really sell for that much, maybe 15 to 20k each. I don't really understand why they're not as valuable, but they're not. And there you have it. That's how to get Shadowmourne. It's all soloable except for the Blood Infusion, where you just need 2 party members and 1 combat res. Other than that, it can be buggy at times, but it is extremely rewarding, if only just for the amount of RP that comes along with it. In 14 years of playing World of Warcraft, this is still one of my favorite quests to do. I think Arthas is one of the best characters ever written, and this really just adds a lot of flavor to that character. So if you have a paladin or a warrior or a death knight, definitely take this quest on. It's pretty easy, and clearing this dungeon every week gives you a good chance for Invincible's Reigns, like I said, and you get a lot of money out of it. You get a good amount of gold, so I definitely suggest doing it. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, please subscribe to the channel and also leave a comment to let me know what sort of videos you want to see. You can also follow me on Twitter. My handle is @SJCage. Alright guys, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.